Ukraine's President Zelenskyy is vowing not to retreat in the bloody battle for Bakhmut. Moscow's effort to capture that eastern Ukrainian city over the last 6 or so months has come at the cost of thousands of lives. And now Ukraine is appointing a new anti-corruption head to calm concerns as Western allies send billions of dollars in military aid to the war-torn country. Joining us this morning to talk more about the ongoing battle, former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Bill Taylor. Great to see you as always. First of all, the strategic value of Bakhmut. Help characterize why this city has been the focus of so much bloodshed.
So, Marnie, this city, a small city, 70,000 people before the war, has taken on significance beyond any strategic value. It's taken on significance because President Putin has been defeated on the battlefield time after time after time, and he needs a victory. He needs some kind of success to keep this going. He doesn't have the ability to keep pushing these troops there. So the Ukrainians have denied him this victory, and the Ukrainians have been holding on to Bakhmut, as you say. It's been an incredible cost to the Russians. The Russians lose wave after wave. It's horrible to hear about the slaughter of Russian troops at Bakhmut. Marnie, the Ukrainian generals are very good. They have demonstrated that they're very good generals and they understand how to fight this war. They are holding on. They may now, there's some reports, Marnie, that they are fighting back, that they are going to attack in Bakhmut. So we will see how this turns out.
So it's the right move for Ukraine's forces to double down on this city. Any sort of retreat sends a much more significant message.
Well, it does. But as several people have pointed out, Bakhmut itself is not that strategic. It's not that big of doesn't play that big a role in transportation. It is symbolic for the Russians. The Russians need the success of something to be able to show what they're fighting for. Right now, they have no reason to fight. They have nothing to point at that says they are doing anything good for themselves in Ukraine. They're losing, so they kind of need this. So the Ukrainian generals know this. They're holding out. They may fall back. It may fall back, but they may attack again. The generals have a very good idea of how to win this war.
What do you make of the fact of the anti-corruption chief being appointed to address some concerns by some from the West on continued military aid, what this will do?
Marty, this is a good indication of the institutions that the Ukrainians have put in place to fight corruption. They know they have a long time problem with corruption.
What is the next battle, like we're seeing in Bakhmut, when it comes to supply lines and making sure that Ukraine's forces have what they need? Where's the next focus for the Ukrainian army and President Zelenskyy?
Marnie, that's exactly the right question. And all Ukrainians, but a lot of Russians would like to know where they're going to hit next. What we do know is the Ukrainians are preparing a counteroffensive. They are preparing to break through the Russian lines. The Russian lines have been pretty static. It's been a slugfest over the past several months, as you pointed out, not just in Bakhmut, but up and down that line. The Ukrainians are preparing a counteroffensive with these new weapons that they've gotten from the United States and the rest of NATO to enable them to break through. And Marnie, that could have a big effect. That could have a devastating effect on the Russian military. And if that happens, the Russian military could crumble.
Are we getting closer to the point where the U.S. will offer up the type of military assistance in the form of F-16s and other aircraft and long-range missiles that Ukraine has been asking for? At what point will the U.S. bend to that demand?
So, Marty, you're right. The requests have come in for a lot of these weapons, and sooner or later, they've been granted. It should have been faster. That would have helped them achieve what they've already achieved quicker, and that will shorten the war. But I do believe the answer to your question is yes. I think that, in particular, the long-range fires will enable this counteroffensive that I just mentioned that the Ukrainians are preparing. Not clear where they're going to strike, but it is clear they're going to mount that counteroffensive. The long-range fires will be helpful. You mentioned the F-16s. That's also being discussed. And I imagine sooner or later, again, the answer will be yes. That will take some time, and that will enable Ukraine to defend itself from further Russian aggression.
You know, we spoke so often about Vladimir Putin weaponizing winter going into the last couple of months. Has that come to fruition as many had feared, or has Ukraine been able to maintain the upper hand, given that they're in their own country, they're on their own land, and they were prepared, maybe better so than many had expected?
Marnie, you're right. The Ukrainians have weathered the winter. It has been a milder winter in Ukraine than expected. It could have been. President Putin probably hoped for a tough winter, a cold winter, a harsh winter, so that he could try to break the morale of the Ukrainians. That failed. Not because he didn't try, not because he didn't bombard the Ukrainian infrastructure trying to provide electricity to people's homes, heat, water, electricity, and he failed. And part of that was because, as you just said, Marnie, the Ukrainians were prepared and they got through it. The other is the Ukrainians would not be cowed. The Ukrainians they know they're going to stick up, as you just said, for their own land. They're fighting for their own territory. They're not going to give in to this pressure from President Putin.
Yeah, Ukraine's resilience, time and time again, impressive through this war. As always, former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Bill Taylor, thank you for your time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.